This time,
It's amazing, look at that.
a mysterious prehistoric object is discovered in Cumbria.
I don't know how we got here. The mind just boggles.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mudlarks in the Thames.
We are walking on this planet of mud.
And hordes of ancient coins are unearthed in Somerset and Suffolk.
That was the exact spot where someone nearly 2,000 years ago buried their wealth.
East Anglia is the metal detecting capital of Britain. Heavily settled in prehistory and the Roman period, it then became a powerful Anglo-Saxon kingdom and one of the richest regions in the Middle Ages. It now yields more finds than anywhere else in the country, and Helen Geek is one of the archaeologists tasked with recording it all.
I'm the Finds Liaison Officer for Norfolk, so that means that I'm employed by Norfolk County Council, but I actually carry out work for the British Museum's Portable Antiquities Scheme. We record things found by everybody: farmers, gardeners, dog walkers, people on the beach. If you find something, you bring it to me or someone like me in your area.
Today, Helen's meeting finders from the East at a surgery in Newmarket. Detectorist Jamie Harcourt has brought something that could have links to one of the region's most important discoveries.
I've potentially brought you a Anglo-Saxon gold sword mount.
That is extraordinary. It's very small, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's completely made out of gold,
Yeah.
except for the garnets. The garnets are famous for falling out, so it's best to be very careful with those. They are quite often found in pairs. For example, at Sutton Hoo, there was one sword but two sword pyramids, and it's thought that they might be something to do with tying the sword into its scabbard.
The Sutton Hoo ship burial was also discovered out east in Suffolk and is one of Britain's greatest archaeological discoveries. Many of the treasures recovered are now exhibited in the British Museum, including sword pyramids strikingly similar to the one found by Jamie.
So this is from the best period of Anglo-Saxon jewellery, the time of Sutton Hoo. It is very little, but it is very well designed, and it's really one of the nicest ones that I've ever seen.
Just up the road from the historic Sutton Hoo ship burial lives 30-year-old George Ridgway. When he's not working with his dad at the family butcher's,
What have we got here?
Our new firecrackers, they're hotter than previous ones.
he's searching for ancient artefacts and has recently made his own remarkable discovery on Suffolk soil: a hoard of gold and silver Roman and Iron Age coins. His detectoring is inspired by everyone's favourite whip-wielding archaeologist.
Indiana Jones was my boyhood hero. It was Indy's adventures. It was hunting in the harsh conditions, uncovering mystic relics, I loved it all. And I learnt to crack the whip when I was about 10, 11 years old. Got a Labrador called Indy.
He's always thought he's an adventurer. You can't do what George does unless it's a passion. I had a metal detector in 1981, I remember. Never found anything. And I gave up. You actually have to really work at it and get a feel for it.
George's hoard is currently being catalogued at the British Museum.
Have you heard from the British Museum yet?
Yeah, I got an email from them a couple of weeks ago, actually. That's going to the coroner, and that will be declared treasure, hopefully. So it's really exciting.
Today, George and his dad, David, are making the trip to Helen's surgery. If his vintage Land Rover can get them there, that is.
She's been a good old girl to you.
She's done well. She's done well.
They're bringing more objects to record that George found in the same field as his hoard. He's keen to know if the discoveries are related and what might have been happening on this land 2,000 years ago.
So, what have you got?
We've got some brooches from the mid-Suffolk Horde site.
Oh, wow. I'll be interested to see those.
Yep.
Oh, they're all really similar.
Yeah, they're all similar
Aren't
types,
they?
yep. And this is this lovely duck brooch.
Yes, and look with the orange enamel. Yeah.
And obviously this came from the same area as well. That's a lovely little vessel.
Yes, now do you know all about these?
Well, I believe they used to grind up a bit of charcoal with maybe a little droplet of fat and apply it to the eye.
Yeah, so they're for putting on various cosmetics, and black eyeliner would have been one of them. So that's likely to be early Roman as well.
Early Roman as
isn't
well,
it?
yes.
Yeah. And remind me of the date of the coins in the Horde.
The latest coin is a denarius of Claudius, so
Okay.
it's about 46, 47 AD.
The discovery of George's hoard wasn't down to chance, but a reward for hundreds of hours of meticulous study.
I was researching Roman roads and ancient trackways, and I was actually looking at the satellite imagery, and I saw this strange crop mark in the corner of a field, and it turned out to be an old field bond. It's always worth a search, just because in antiquity, people actually buried hoards near water sources.
After gaining permission to detect from the landowner, within minutes of arriving at the field, George was on the treasure trail.
I came across a signal reading 81. 8081 means it might be silver. So my heart was racing, and I dug into what was very hard Suffolk clay, and there it was. 6 inches below the earth was a silver denarius.
First introduced around 211 BC to pay foreign mercenaries in the Roman army, the silver denarius went on to be the mainstay of the Roman economy for the next 400 years. And there were more to be found for George.
Within a few yards, I came across this area frenzied with signals. Silver denarii. Just when I thought, right, time to phone Dad now.
I got in the car, he rushed round, and then I could see this figure in the distance, madly detectoring.
Oh, it's two stuck together. Oh my God.
And he put his hand in his bag and pulled out these silver coins. Well, one was amazing, but when you pull a handful, it's just ridiculous.
Got one. That was the exact spot where someone nearly 2,000 years ago buried their wealth. I was actually finding all these sherds of Roman pottery. There was actually one piece of the base still with silver denarii stuck inside. This was the point where I said to Dad, right, we've got to phone the archaeologists here, because if this hoard is somewhat intact, it needs to be excavated properly.
How many coins do you think are left in?
Well, I'm not sure. There might be 4 or 5. I don't know, but there are some left in there.
With the hoard site exposed and the Suffolk archaeologists not able to excavate immediately, the coins still in the ground were at risk of being plundered by archaeological thieves known as nighthawks.
Do you think anybody might know about it then?
I mean, they could do, because there's tractors driving by and...
Right, so somebody might have spotted you out there.
Yeah.
Nighthawks are the bane of the archaeological world. I just remember thinking, I've just made the find of my lifetime here, and, you know, it could easily be stolen from us.
In Suffolk, George Ridgway has uncovered a hoard of gold and silver Roman coins.
Here we go.
But when darkness draws in, treasure left in the ground is vulnerable to nighthawks.
They're not just stealing it from me, they're stealing it from the landowner, the archaeologists, you know, the public in general, because it's a find of national significance.
Armed with nothing more than a mobile phone and a nightcap, George's dad, David, gallantly stood guard until archaeologists could get there and excavate the remains of the hoard.
Because I was in celebratory mood, I drank a whole bottle of wine.
And fell asleep quite soon, did you?
I hope nobody finds out.
Yeah.
When the Suffolk Finds liaison officers began to excavate, the true scale of the hoard was revealed.
It actually turned out there was hundreds and hundreds left.
And some coins even predated the Roman occupation of Britain.
Iron Age coin.
No way.
Oh, you've got a lovely little
Oh my God!
It's a gold. Yeah.
What's going on? By the end of the excavation, we came to about 400 coins. But the hoard was actually scattered over the whole area of this field, really. I mean, it was vast. So the archaeologists left it down to me to find as many coins as I could. So for the last 3 months, I've been searching here a lot, and I've actually got the total up to 734 now. You know, it's far bigger than I thought it ever was going to be. It's just kept producing. It's unbelievable, really.
George is still searching, but he's handed all the coins he's found so far over to the British Museum. And back at the Fine Surgery, Helen has news from the curator.
I gather that they've finished cataloguing them now, and so they have all the answers. And apparently it's not just the normal run of a Roman hoard. So I think, yes, if you could arrange a trip up to the British Museum, I think they'd very much like to see you.
Oh, you'll come, won't you? Oh, yeah, great, yeah.
Excellent.
That's fantastic news.
The British Museum holds one of the largest historical collections relating to money in the world. But George's hoard would make a fine addition to any museum should they wish to acquire it. But there's another finder at today's surgery whose own discovery is enough to give George hoard envy.
Mine was Saxon and Norman pennies,
Yep.
coins of William the Conqueror and Harold Godwinson.
Yeah, amazing.
2,500.
2,500, I really, yeah.
Metal detecting is a lot like fishing. Every time this metal detector beeps, it's like your float going under. You don't know if this is a tiddler that's taken it or whether it's going to be Moby Dick.
Derbyshire detectorist Adam Staples reeled in the big one when on a weekend dig with friends at Chew Valley in Somerset. Together, they made one of the most important archaeological discoveries for a decade.
When the first coin was found, it was amazing, and every time I would get a beep and dig a coin out, there would be another beep in the hole still. 2 inches away, there would be another coin. And after a bucket full of coins, we were scratching our heads, how long is this going to go on for?
When all the scattered coins had been recovered, the hoard amounted to over 2,500 silver pennies from the time of the Norman conquest.
Historically, these are irreplaceable. And the date, 1066, everybody's heard of the Battle of Hastings. If you were going to find an important hoard of coins, what better age to find it from?
After seeking advice from local fines liaison officers, Adam and his friends delivered the hoard directly to the British Museum.
I remember them holding the crowds back, driving through the gates with all the coins in the car. What an amazing feeling. It was such a relief to actually bring them here and get them into the safekeeping of the British Museum.
The head of the Portable Antiquities Scheme, Michael Lewis, was there to take personal delivery.
Chew Valley Hoard is probably one of the most exciting archaeological discoveries because of the composition of the hoard. You've got coins of the last Anglo-Saxon king of England, Harold II, and also the first Norman king of England as well, so William I. And it kind of brings together those reigns of those two kings in a very important moment in British history, when the last time, in fact, this country was ever successfully invaded.
The hoard has been declared treasure, with Bath and North East Somerset Council hoping to raise funds to acquire it for the Roman Baths Heritage Centre.
People know about the Roman history of Bath, and now to get a bit of the Anglo-Saxon and Norman history of the surrounding area, I think a lot of people will come to see it.
Adam, his friends and the landowner will split the finder's reward set by an independent treasure valuation committee.
You could have bought 80 sheep at the time with this hoard, but an independent coin expert gave a guesstimated value between £3 to £5 million. I've only got a 1/14th share, but it should still be life-changing money for me.
But for Adam, it's piecing together the history of Britain that really drives him. And he's got another jigsaw piece he's curious to know more about.
So you were one of the finders of the Chew Valley Horde, and now you found something in East Anglia.
Yeah, I do like to travel about. I've got permission in quite a few different counties in the UK.
Let's have a look then.
This is a little coin brooch.
Oh, wow, that is in such good condition. Because usually the pin arrangements come off the back. I have rarely seen one in as good a state as this.
Remarkably, the coin used for the makeshift brooch is a silver penny of Edward the Confessor, and in a strange twist of fate, a single Edward the Confessor coin of the same type was also found as part of his Chew Valley hoard over in the West Country. It's not just the soil that holds the secrets of Britain's past. The Thames is the country's largest archaeological site, revealing clues about how Londoners used to live to mudlarks on the foreshore at every low tide. But many of the capital's historical treasures have been washed out beyond the city into the vast expanse of the Thames estuary. And to find those, you need transport. Simon Bourne and Steve Johnson go where other mudlarks fear to tread.
It's a good day today. Nice bright sunshine, good visibility. Winds are not too bad, so...
Well, what I'm thinking is if we go straight out to the low tide mark and then try and follow it that way.
Yeah. You keep your eyes open, see if there's any obstacles in the way. Don't you crash into anything. We might even find a bomb, so we've got to be careful about that.
There's plenty of bombs out there.
We both work full time. This is just an extreme hobby that we have.
Right, mind your legs.
Yep. We're good mates and we love what we do.
Fire her up, sorry.
Right, Steve, take us out, boy. So obviously out here, the terrain is so uneven. We get these channels that let the seawater out, so these little mini rivers can be quite treacherous. But that's part of the terrain, so we just got to be careful where we're going and try and navigate our way around successfully.
As required to metal detect on dry land, Simon and Steve have sought permission to search this stretch of the foreshore, but they have no use for detectors on these perilous mudflats.
We work as an eyes-only approach. We're basically looking for anything kind of unnatural, so we're avoiding things like shells, we're looking for man-made objects, things like pots and bottles and sort of larger artefacts. So what's that over there? Got one of your favourites here, mate. As you're the roofer and you get all excited about roof tiles, you can tell me what that is.
Possibly a Roman roof tile. It's the thickness of it that gives it away. That would have been about that big with the Roman roll, so the roll there, flat.
The Romans used what was known as an imprex and tegular roofing system throughout their empire. The joints between the ridged clay tegular tiles were covered by the arched imbrices to create a distinctive undulating roof that is still replicated across the world today.
I'm going to clean it up and see if there's a maker's mark on it.
There we go, a bit of Roman, not bad.
I'm going to have a little float round on the hovercraft, see what I can find.
That's it, I'll go by foot, you go by hover, and we'll meet back in the middle. The best part of this kind of mudlarking for us is just the sheer expanse of these mudflats. It is like a different planet. We are walking on this planet of mud.
But Simon and Steve only have a 2-hour window before the Thames sweeps back in to conceal its secrets again.
You've got to have respect for the Thames as well. It's a very dangerous river. The tides are extremely fast.
Today, the Portable Antiquities Scheme is also holding a fine surgery at the village of Wistonstow in the heart of the West Midlands, and it's drawing detectorists from all over the Midlands and the North West. Billy Vaughan has made the journey down from the Cumbrian coastal town of Whitehaven where he's made a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that's hit the headlines in the detectoring community.
So what was your good find?
The gold Torc, Bronze Age, Viking.
I saw you in the Searcher magazine.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, your picture was on the front, wasn't it?
Aye.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice find there.
Oh, fantastic.
When first worn as adornments during the Bronze Age thousands of years ago, Torcs were simple, solid metal bands. But by the 1st century, Celtic Iron Age tribes had developed them into intricate, high-status jewellery. At first, Billy wasn't sure what he'd stumbled upon, so took it to a friend who trades in gold to try and identify it.
He says it's at least 22 carat gold. Yeah. He went, there you go, hammer it. There's £11,000 in your hand. And that was just straight value.
Oh, of the scrap value?
The scrap value?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like gobsmacked. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. Couldn't believe it.
Suspecting it had historical value too, Billy took it to his local finds liaison officer, who informed him it could be almost 3,000 years old. The Torc is now being analysed by the British Museum. And today, he's hoping he has more treasure in his finds bag for Shropshire Finds Liaison Officer Peter Reeville.
Oh my goodness.
A few bits of artefacts, little bits of history that I've been finding.
This one looks like a medallion. You've got what looks like a clerical gentleman wearing a Catholic hat. I think it's probably like to be a religious medallion, maybe sort of 1750, 1800.
Now, this is a nice little coin, 1766, Danish.
Danish. Do you know what? I've never seen one of these. I wonder if it's turned up because you're by the coast and
yes.
we're landlocked.
Yeah, and then a Spanish rail.
See, this is the difference between where you are and where we are, because we see none of this sort of continental coinage.
So it's all off the coast.
Yeah.
We have a local harbour. It used to be one of the biggest ports in our country.
I love seeing material like this. It's great.
Yeah.
We haven't got any more gold on the table, but
no,
your Torc is a find of a lifetime, really.
Billy found the gold Torc in Whitehaven, where he was born and bred. This Cumbrian coastal town was originally settled by Irish Norse Vikings in the 10th century. The pirates of the day.
Billy boy! I didn't say pieces of eight or anything like that. I think he's a bit shy like myself. It's nice to catch him every morning when he's swearing his head off. Want a tickle? You're a good lad, aren't you? Likes to stroke now and again, don't you, pal? Eh?
Billy is a care worker and took up metal detecting to unwind from the strains of the job.
This is a replica, the gold Torc that I found, made of brass. A friend of mine made that for me.
The gold Torc was 5 inches deep in a field he used to play on as a child.
It was a fine day, 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. Got a nice signal.
He had no idea of the history in his hands.
When I dug it up, I thought it was just a bit of metal at first. And then I thought, well, it's shaped. I think it might be a bit of gear off a paraglider. Put it in my finds bag. Just carried on detecting. The Torc could have easily went in the bin if I haven't had the sense to phone somebody and ask them. You're not supposed to find gold up here. I've heard about people finding gold in America. Not up here. Nobody knows how it got here. It could have been lost. I don't know how it's been lost or how it got here. The mind just boggles.
Alongside other tattoos of local history, Billy's special find now has pride of place on his thigh. But the Torc's presence on his home turf remains a mystery. One scientists at the British Museum are hoping to solve. It's been a busy day for Helen at her fine surgery in Newmarket. But she's always keen to find time for new detectorists like Rebecca Hyde-Parker.
I got into detecting almost by accident. Picked up my father's old metal detector and went out into our garden to try and find my husband's wedding ring, which he had lost. The next thing, I had found an Anglo-Saxon silver coin. I never did find my husband's ring, but I'm now addicted to the hobby.
The relationship between the FLO and the finder is an important one because the Portable Antiquities Scheme is a voluntary scheme.
No matter how big or small their finds, it's important that those new to the hobby are encouraged to record them.
Sometimes each individual object isn't so interesting, so like a piece of pottery or a belt buckle, but they build up to tell us something about the landscape of the society that was living there. What have you got in your little square boxes?
In my little square boxes, I have this unusual object which I found in my sister's field and didn't really know what it was.
Wow, that is one of my favourite things, an early Anglo-Saxon woman's brooch. These are quite low status in a sense. I mean, you've probably noticed it's got stamped decoration. They're done quite quickly, quite cheaply. We don't know really anything about their production. What we do know is the date.
So what sort of date would you put on it?
Well, they're found in graves with other things that lets us discover that they date from 450 to 550-ish.
Gosh, well that's old.
Yes, it's very old. And Anglo-Saxon women are buried fully clothed with the brooches on their shoulders. If it's been in a grave, it will probably have other graves around it. Once you find one early Anglo-Saxon brooch, you need to have a really good, thorough look to see if any more come up.
Well, interestingly enough, it came from a section of land which was dug out to make a schooling arena for horses, and the spoil from that was put in a very clear mound at the very end of her property. Who knows what else could be in amongst all the spoil.
Any chance of levelling it and having a look? And it would be really useful to find out what else is in that heap.
I'll ask her.
Always ask.
Yes.
A few miles downstream from the capital, the search for treasure continues on the Thames estuary. Since the Romans set up camp in 43 AD, Londoners have been discarding clues about their lives for mudlarks like Simon and Steve to find.
There's so much activity going along the Thames, 2,000 years worth, and a lot of it is rubbish. They threw out pottery and drinking vessels and clay pipes. Today, it all goes into landfill. A lot of it back then went into the river, and we're finding these things that they've dropped.
It's a case of one man's trash is another man's treasure. In fact, Simon and Steve's collection includes centuries of lost loot.
Come on, what is it? It's not a clay pigeon, no?
No, not a clay pigeon.
Not a clay pigeon.
It's a Roman pot lid, which are really quite rare.
Oh, nice. I love the way that it's pinched around the top as well. You can imagine, can't you, the fingerprints of the Roman potter that actually made that. We've got other finds we've got here. We've got a cannonball.
Which is a falconet, that one, isn't it?
It is, yeah, they're named after birds.
The falconet cannon was developed at the end of the 15th century as a lightweight alternative to its predecessors. And at half the size, it was ideal for defending smaller naval vessels, which is probably how this shot ended up at the bottom of the Thames.
It's definitely one to be recorded.
Bagged and tagged, as they say.
Bagged and tagged, yeah.
But there's still a few things on our wish list, isn't there?
It's all out there waiting for a sign. It's not going to find itself.
No. Roll on next weekend, we'll do it all again. We don't sell anything. We literally find it, record it, and maybe hand it over to a museum if they're really interested in it. But the main point of it is the adventure side, not knowing what you're going to find next, because it's like a big mixing bag full of awesome finds that are yet to be discovered.
The British Museum has one of the most impressive collections of Bronze Age jewellery in the world. These torcs and bracelets would have adorned the necks, wrists and arms of ancient people through the millennia. But the treasure team has never seen one quite like the one found by Cumbrian detectorist Billy Vaughan. Laura Peruchetti is a scientist specialising in metallurgy, and she needs to confirm the team's suspicions that the Torc is as old as Bronze Age.
It's amazing. Look at that. Look at that. I can tell you it's a lot of metal. The first time that I've seen these objects, I was like, they're not real, they can't be Bronze Age, look. It seems like it has been cut yesterday. We'll see what the machine will tell us.
The X-ray fluorescent spectrometer will determine the metallic composition of Billy's find, and in doing so, help to date it.
I have some old analysis of other Bronze Age gold objects just to have a little bit of comparison. You can already see peaks growing up in the dark blue, and the position of the peaks is absolutely the same as the position of the other gold Bronze Age objects. If you think about that, it's kind of amazing because they were deliberately choosing a specific kind of mixing of gold, copper and silver.
With the Torc confirmed as Bronze Age, Laura wants to take a closer look under the microscope to see how it was crafted 3,000 years ago.
I think it has been made by the same tool. Like, can you see like this blobbly here and here? It's the same. And this and here as well. All these lines are corrosion of the copper side of the composition. It has been scratched, buried, and then the surface has started to be corroded.
The science might have answered some questions, but one still remains a mystery.
How can you lose something like this? It's more than 100 grams of gold. It's not something that you can drop and you don't even realize that.
Laura will pass on her findings to the museum's Bronze Age curators, who hope to solve the riddle of who owned it and how it came to be buried on a Cumbrian hillside. Over in Suffolk, George is heading back out to the site of his Roman coin hoard. He's been invited up to the British Museum to learn more about the history of the hoard. But as the coins were found scattered across the field from centuries of ploughing on the land, there could be more to find.
I'm up to 730 now. Just over 730 coins.
Goodness me, that's been a lot of digging, isn't it?
So much digging.
We've been through about 3 spades, haven't we?
We have.
I've been through 2 pairs of shoes. I don't get any thanks for it. Steady.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm not as young as you.
No, I know.
Today, David's coming out of metal detecting retirement to help unearth any last remnants of the hoard before making the trip to London.
Don't forget, I haven't done this since 1981.
Yeah. So this is the on button.
Yeah.
2 bleeps means it's on.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally just a slow sweep, so keeping the detector parallel to the ground.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
wait.
Yeah.
I've got something there. Can't see what the reading is.
Yeah, right. So that is actually
iron.
Well, that's worth a dig, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Really
Yank it out. Yank it out.
How do you actually know that's iron then, Georgie?
It's that low buzz.
Right.
It might even be just a tiny bit of nail or something. A lot of timber frame buildings were made with iron nails, obviously, so it can be a sign of occupation as well. So there you go, look. Just a little bit of a corroded nail. First find since 1981.
Oh, wow. I better phone up the British Museum.
Yeah, they'll be interested in that. Look at that.
Look at that.
It's not part of the hoard, but it's a find.
We better crack on and find some more stuff, shall we?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay.
That's it, keep it slowly. It's good, well done. It's getting the settings right,
Yeah.
it's keeping a nice rhythm on the swing.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of things that goes into it.
Just like his nail, after 4 decades, David's treasure detecting skills are a little rusty.
How you doing, Dad? You found anything?
Yeah. That's a cog.
Oh, you found a cog, have you?
Yeah, if you ever need a cog, I'm your man.
Off a tractor, eh?
Yeah. Probably 20s, some of that. I'd like to have that as a paperweight. It's funny how you've been on this field 100 times or something.
More than that now.
And I spent a quarter of an hour here and I found something.
You found something?
That you hadn't found.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have dug it. Anyway, you've done well, haven't you?
You really encouraged me.
Yeah.
Let's crack on, shall we?
Well done, yeah.
Okay,
Carry on.
With George's Horde search drawing to a close, thoughts turned to who buried it 2,000 years ago.
So what do you reckon was actually happening on this field then, Georgie?
Well, you know where I found the Roman brooches? I actually come across loads of early Roman pottery as well.
Yeah.
So it's all signs that something was actually happening here.
Yes.
Maybe someone's even living here.
He's hoping the British Museum will have the answers.
It's possible that this was a site of occupation. And did that mean the person who buried this hoard lived here? We don't know yet, but it's something to find out.
Cumbrian detectorist Billy has come down to the British Museum in London, hoping that prehistory curator Jennifer Wexler can finally solve the mystery of the gold Torc he found near his home in Whitehaven.
The composition is quite a high percentage of gold. And you can see if you look at the ends, just underneath, you can see that there's little scratches. Can you see that?
Yeah.
That's from someone actually wearing it.
Right.
So you actually can get the sense of a human having that on the wrist and taking it on and off. So I guess the question is, where did it come from? Why is it there? Why is it in Whitehaven? That decoration is really distinct and it's really uncommon in England. And we ended up talking to our colleagues at the National Museum of Ireland about this. And they've actually recently displayed a hoard of rings very similar to this. And they were found in Donegal, so kind of northwest Ireland. And so it makes you think, okay, did this come from Ireland? There's some interesting connections in prehistory between Cumbria and Ireland. The Irish Sea connected up Cumbria and the coast of Ireland. And if you go back even earlier, sort of 5,000 years ago, you get things like megalithic tombs and rock art and other things that only occur in sort of Ireland, Cumbria, and then Scotland. And that's that Irish Sea kind of connection. Potentially this person was Irish or Irish connected to people over there, and that's how they got it. There will be some reason why it's there.
Right.
Like, these weren't cavemen. These are very sophisticated people who are traveling quite widely and making really exquisite, beautiful objects. And you found one of them.
Yeah. No, you've given me a lot of information there, which is interesting. I thought Bronze Age people were just people that lived in the huts and, went scavenging for food. They've travelled from one country to another. There's no speedboats in them days or anything like that. They just come over in a small sailing ship. Where I found it, you've got the lovely hillsides of the Lake District. And you can just imagine the sunrise coming over. And maybe, he's knelt down and said a prayers and buried the gold. It's just a fascinating story.
The mystery of the Torc's origins may have been solved, but its financial value is yet to be determined. Billy's local museum in Whitehaven is interested in acquiring it, and the reward he would share 50-50 with the landowner is expected to be set at many thousands of pounds. George Ridgway's Roman coin hoard has been cleaned and catalogued at the British Museum. And today, he's come up to London with his dad, David, hoping to discover if there are clues as to how it ended up in a field in Suffolk.
I've visited the British Museum so many times as a young boy, and to think that I'm actually here to see a hoard I found, it's amazing. It really is. This is the dream to come to the British Museum.
You don't get better than this, do you, Geordie? It actually feels like we're in our very own Indiana Jones film. I'm young enough, I think, to probably play the leading role, but no, maybe George should. Yeah, he's a hero.
Curator Eleanor Gay was tasked with identifying all 734 coins.
This is my dad, David.
It's nice to meet you after hearing so much about your hoard.
Eleanor has confirmed that it's the largest hoard ever found in Britain from the reign of Claudius, the emperor that led the conquest of Britain in 43 AD.
Combines the local Iron Age coins and the Roman coins together. So that's what makes it really special. It says something about the Iron Age people living in Britain already and how they were becoming integrated into the Roman Empire and rejecting Roman coins or accepting Roman coins.
19 of the coins are Iron Age gold staters, struck at the command of a Celtic king before Claudius invaded.
They're all issued by Canobalin, who we don't know very much about, although he features a lot in later myths and stories and seems to have been perhaps an important Iron Age ruler. On one side, there's a depiction of a cornea, and it says Camu, C-A-M-U, which is the Latin Camulodunum, which we now know is modern-day Colchester. So he perhaps had a base in Colchester where these coins were being made. And there's a running horse. That's a very common theme in Iron Age coins. The horse is hugely important in Celtic society.
I mean, they're just wonderful coins. Beautiful.
The last Iron Age coins are really produced shortly after this point, then it became a proper Roman province. So it's just a little window into that period of change.
The bulk of the hoard is made up of 714 silver denarii.
We think a denarius is about perhaps a day's pay for a legionary soldier. That must have been someone's several years' wages, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, this is a lovely one, isn't it?
Eleanor has discovered that the Emperor Claudius appears more than once on some of the coins.
He's greeting the soldier of the Praetorian Guard.
Such a lovely image, isn't it? I remember finding it and I remember turning it over and just seeing two people holding hands. It was amazing, and it turned out to be Claudius.
It says something about the fact this is a time of war and a time of conquest, but he's also emphasising peace on his coins and the fact that this phase has ended.
Amazing, isn't it? I've often thought about this, who actually buried the hoard, but he could have been a soldier, couldn't he?
It's possible. It's a lot of money. I don't know whether it belonged to a single person or whether it was belonging to a community, perhaps. It might have been that it was all put into a vessel by a number of people and then buried. I think you mentioned this was found near a spring, which to me suggests there might be an element of religious or ritualised behaviour. We know that hoards were perhaps sometimes deposited or buried as an offering or something to bring luck.
The hoard has now been declared treasure, meaning museums have the opportunity to acquire it.
Because you've reported this to the Portable Antiquities Scheme, this will just add to our picture of the ancient past of this country. And I believe that there's a local museum interested in purchasing this.
It'd be lovely to see it in a museum behind glass. My local museum actually might be interested in acquiring it, which would be fantastic because it's such a big part of the area's history now.
George will receive a 50-50 split of the finder's reward with the landowner.
I know that I've made a big discovery here. It could be worth tens of thousands of pounds, but it's never been about the money. It'd just be lovely to see it displayed all together for everyone to see. That would make me very happy, because that's how I got started. I went to the British Museum when I was younger, and I dreamt of finding treasure. And I've done it, and I've added something to Roman history. It's wonderful.
Hey Georgie, can you just stand there? That's right. Yeah.
Hand on bonnet.
Yeah, that would do well. Like that big smile.
Especially every day, isn't it? Every day. Yeah. My next goal is to actually get something on display in the British Museum. That's what every metal detectorist dreams of, and one day that might happen. I'm gonna have to keep searching.
From the Cumbrian coast to ploughed Suffolk soil, ancient Shropshire peat bogs to the Somerset levels, Thames mudflats to Norfolk meadows, to the British Museum, whose treasure team work with passionate detectorists to uncover the secrets beneath our feet, allowing us to glimpse the past. They are the Great British History Hunters.